Now we are. Okay, let's start over. Back to the beginning. Thanks, Sarah, for that. I thought I had started that. Yeah, so everything that you're going to hear tonight will be on the recording and also in that guidebook to follow up. And like I was saying, we want this to be interactive tonight. So if you have questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. And if we have some time later, we can have some people come off mute and ask some questions and share some advice and stories as well. If you have things to share, also feel free to drop that in the chat and chime in. We may have some people we know are veteran writers and have some great ideas and advice jump in with us as well. My name's Stacy, so I guess I'll just start by sharing a little bit since we didn't invite a featured writer or volunteer tonight. We kind of wanted to hear from the staff about what ACS means to them and what POHR means to them. But I'll start a little bit with an introduction. I've been around the POHR Hope Ride for a pretty long time. So I first got involved in 2008. My dad had passed away from cancer in 2006. And sometime in early 2008, I just realized that I was not in a very good place mentally. A lot in life was kind of falling apart, and I never had really properly processed all of that. I was pretty sedentary. I was totally out of shape, and I just sort of needed something. And a coworker of mine suggested a bicycle because she loved her bike. So I bought this bike, totally fell in love with riding. She invited me to this charity ride for something else, and it was like the first weekend in June, and we went to do this 30-mile ride, and I thought that was crazy because at that time I thought 30 miles was a really far bike ride, but I went, had a great time, and when I left there was a flyer on my car for the POHR Hope Ride, and I thought, wow, what a cool thing to do to finally process this and sort of grieve the loss of my dad and a lot of other people we knew that had cancer. And it seemed absolutely crazy. And at the time, it was totally going to be this one-time experience to challenge myself, do something in memory of my dad, and honor him by raising funds to help future cancer patients have a better experience. And I just fell in love with it. It was one of those things where I thought it was going to be a once-in-a-lifetime event, but when I got to the finish line, I couldn't wait to sign up again. So those of you that have been around with us for several years, I think you know that feeling of sometime during the week, you're like, what am I doing? This is crazy. I'm never going to finish. It's really far. I can't do this. But then as soon as you cross the finish line, it turns to, that was amazing. I can't wait to do it again. When can I sign up? And it really does sort of become this really cool family of people who have been through similar situations, and we have survivors riding with us. So we have people who've lost loved ones. We have people who celebrate, the loved ones who have survived. And it's just such a wonderful experience to do something fun. Riding across the state is fun, but to have it be super meaningful because you're together with this like-minded group of people that's like united around this common cause of fighting cancer. So I hope everyone has that same experience for me, because I left there in 2008 saying I'm in. There have been a couple times over the past 15 years that I've been like, okay, maybe I'm done with this. I think maybe at 10 years I was going to be done. Clearly I wasn't, because then I became the Central Ohio Committee Chair for a few years. And then about 2.5, 3 years ago, Kathleen Bond, the founding co-chair, wanted to step away a little bit and asked me to step up into the statewide volunteer leadership role. So yeah, I can't quit this thing. Really excited to have my husband Daryl along for the ride now too, for the past several years, and just really excited to sort of get back this year to the roots of what POHR has been. And I'll let the staff introduce themselves and what POHR means to them a little bit when we get to them. But first I wanted to share a really exciting announcement of a new staff member we have joining our team. So some of you may recall that Kristen Hudson left to focus on her family a couple months ago, and kind of left a little bit of a gap in some of the staffing. And I'm super excited to announce our newest staff member, Olivia Leonard. And she's going to be also focused out of the Cleveland office. So she's moving from Cleveland on. Again, I'll let, actually, Olivia, do you want to just share a little bit about your background with ACS?
Yeah, Stacy, thank you for
thank
you for the intro. Hi, everybody. I'm Olivia. Like she said, I am moving to Cleveland actually tomorrow. I will spare showing you all the boxes behind me. And I'm also working on my dog check chant. So I don't know if you are Browns fans, but I started at ACS a year and a half ago on the Chicago Distinguished Events team. So that's more focused on golf and galas, and I got this opportunity to come to Cleveland, and I'm really excited to see the endurance side of things in POHR. So yeah, we're moving right outside of Cleveland. My fiance is from Shaker Heights, if any of you are familiar. But yeah, we're really excited, and I'm really excited to meet all of you in person. I'm a people person, so you'll be seeing my name on communication, but feel free to reach out just to chat if you have any questions. I'm here. So yeah, thank you guys so much. And thanks again, Stacy, for the intro.
Yeah, super excited to have you join the team. It was a huge relief to have someone that's already been with ACS for a long time and knows a lot of the ins and outs of the system and has been around and has really just jumped in and hit the ground running with us. And we're so excited to meet you in person this summer. And then, of course, our other awesome panelists tonight who are going to share all of the super information, Sarah Morris and Alyssa Hancock. So I'm gonna, before I get to introducing them, so I don't have to keep switching back and forth with this slideshow, before we move on, I'm gonna bring this up again later, but I want you all to do this right now. This is the Pan Ohio hotline number. If you need anything during the ride, this is the number you're gonna want to call or text. Go ahead and put that down now, write it down, save it in your phone. That way we can kind of close out of this slideshow, introduce Sarah and Alyssa, and get into the meat of what Pan Ohio 2022 is all about here. Everybody got that? 216-925-0328. Not an accident there. 0328 should be easy to remember. So if you can remember the 925 part, 0328. All right, with that, I'm going to turn it over to Sarah to give a little bit of introduction and what Pan Ohio means to you and why you enjoy supporting this mission with us.
Well, hello, everyone. Most of you I know, unless you're a first-time rider and you're not in the Dayton, Ohio area, because I will say we have some new first-time riders in Dayton who I have been able to meet. But my name is Sarah Morris. I have been with the American Cancer Society 9 years and staffing Pan Ohio since 2017. Most of you know that I am a cancer survivor myself. For those of you who don't, now you do. That's what kind of led me to the American Cancer Society. When I was a junior in high school, I was 17 and diagnosed with acute myeloid leukemia. I'm the first in my family to be diagnosed with cancer, and it was definitely a whirlwind for my family and changed our world, but for the better. After I was in remission, I immediately started volunteering for ACS, and when I graduated college, in 2013, I knew that this is what I was meant to do and what I wanted to do. So my first and only job so far out of college has been with ACS. Like I said, 9 years, and I absolutely love getting to work and fight back alongside all of you. And like Stacy said, it's become a family endeavor for me as well. Some of you have met my parents who ride, my aunt, uncle, my husband rides a day. We had our first son last year. He'll be almost 2, and he will probably be ringing a cowbell when you come into Dayton, since that's where we're from. So I'm very excited to be able to take my cancer journey and turn it into getting to call this my career. So very excited to be with you all tonight and hopefully answer all of your questions that you might have. And can't wait to see you in a month.
Thank you. And take it away, Alyssa. Can we hear a little bit about you and your ACS journey?
Yes. Hi, everybody. I'm Alyssa Hancock. I'm based out of Cleveland. And like Sarah, I have been with the American Cancer Society for 9, going on 10 years. So definitely seen quite a whirlwind of events through the American Cancer Society, but I feel like I finally found my home with Pan Ohio. So I have 3 kids of my own at home, and the reason that I got involved with the American Cancer Society, I have lost all 4 of my grandparents to cancer. And what keeps me going is all the other people that I meet and the relationships I build. And, you know, I have met volunteers and had friends since I started that have been diagnosed with cancer. And, you know, it's just really, it's impactful to see so many people rally around a cause together. My dad has gotten involved and is a 4-day volunteer now. And, you know, it's Pan Ohio itself is just so captivating of an event that people get involved and they don't want to leave. So here I am, and I absolutely love it. And I'm excited for 2022 coming up fast.
Yes. Well, thank you. So now you all know the faces to look for. Leading up to Pan Ohio and during this weekend, certainly, Sarah and Alyssa somehow have a magical way of seeming like they're everywhere at once during the event. And it'll be great to have Olivia with us as well. And also Chris Bowles, our regional endurance events manager out of Chicago. Chris, do you want to just say hi quickly so everyone knows your face? So when they see you, they know you're also a go-to question answer in person.
Hello, everybody. Good to see you all again, and we'll be excited to see many of you again for my second year going out to Ohio. I feel like I get to be a part-time resident of the state for July and August every year for Pan Ohio and C2C. But some of you may know I do a lot of marathons now, but I got my start in the endurance world by doing century rides. I was fresh out of college working for Enterprise Rent-A-Car, and a couple of months in, I saw an email that went out about an MS-150 bike ride that some of the folks had done, and I loved cycling and I loved swimming at the time, and I said, that just sounds super cool. I'd love to be a part of it for next year. And so rode my first century the following year with the team, and I love it. And so I'm still very active in the endurance community, but it's as Alyssa and Olivia and Sarah have said, the family atmosphere at Pan Ohio is wonderful. It's truly a privilege to get to meet everybody on event weekend and to see how everybody supports one another, and how passionate you all are for supporting the American Cancer Society and putting on a world-class event experience. So very grateful to be part of this team and can't wait to celebrate with you all in just over 3 weeks.
Crazy. Well, thank you. All right, so now everyone knows the go-to staff members. Let's dive in. One more thing, we are gonna, just for attending tonight, we will still give away those 2 incentive points just for joining us tonight. And we will have a raffle at the end for 5 more incentive points. So either Olivia or Chris is gonna be taking that attendance. So you may be getting a message in the chat from Olivia just to confirm your full name, especially if you're signed in like from your iPhone or something, and she may not know who that is. So that's why we're taking attendance, just to make sure we know you're here and you get credit for those incentive points and can be in our raffle at the end. So with that, I just want to start with, I think a good overview would be like, Sarah, can you start with like a little bit of an overview of, we're just going to kind of go through day to day. What can people expect, like packet pick? Where does this start? When does Pan Ohio Week start? When can people get their packets and how? Starting on Tuesday.
Yes, definitely not just a Thursday start, right? So the week building up to it, there are a lot of elements as well. So Tuesday is our first opportunity for packet pickup. So hopefully you have all filled out, I'll start with saying this, your lodging, transportation, and logistics intake form. If you haven't, then we need you to fill that out and we can drop that in the chat. This is a form that we need every participant to fill out to help answer some of these questions, like where do you want to pick your packet up? So there is an opportunity on Tuesday to pick that up in a few of our cities across the state. So Cleveland, Columbus, and Cincinnati, the 3 major markets, will have packet pickup all day Tuesday from about 8:30 to 5:30. If not, and you don't join us for packet pickup Tuesday, you can pick up Wednesday or Thursday. And so I don't want to jump ahead too much there, Stacy, but those are the 3 cities on Tuesday: Cleveland, Columbus, Cincinnati, where you can pick up your packet, or Wednesday when you meet us to get on the bus.
Okay. So let's talk about that. Alyssa, you want to talk about what people can expect Wednesday when they show up for that bus?
Oh, Wednesday is quite the whirlwind, so everyone get ready. So Wednesday, if you are traveling in, let's start if you're from Cleveland. Okay, so if you are from Cleveland, some people may work a half day, some people may choose to work their whole day. John Carroll is going to be where you're going to report to. You can get your, you can pick up your packet Wednesday. You can actually pick up your packet on Tuesday in the Cleveland office. So if we want to even back that up to Tuesday. So Tuesday, people can pick up their packet in the Cleveland office. Wednesday, if you're from Cleveland, you can pick up your packet at check-in at John Carroll, beginning at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. If you are from Cleveland and staying in a dorm, you also can check in for your dorm at that time and get your key. If you are staying at your own house on Wednesday evening, you may just be coming for the kickoff dinner, right? So the kickoff dinner for everyone will begin at 6 o'clock. Okay, so Cleveland folks, You can come, you can check in, dinner starts at 6. Okay, Columbus, right? Now we're going to back out a little bit. So Columbus folks, you are going to catch your bus in Columbus at Otterbein, okay? And your bus is going to arrive. I'm sorry, I want to make sure I do not get a single thing wrong. Your bus is going to depart from Otterbein at 2:30 p.m. Okay, so you're going to get to that bus and you're going to get your packet pickup there. Okay, if you choose to pick up your packet at Otterbein, you can pick up your packet before you get on the bus. Get on the bus, and that bus is going to drive you to check in at John Carroll, and you'll continue to your dinner. Okay, we're going to back up to the Dayton bus. So Dayton riders, I'm sorry, Otterbein, that will be at the campus center is where you're going to pick that up. So if you are a previous rider, it's going to be where we've been in the past, in that parking lot right to the left. Correct, Sarah?
Left or right. Currently one's under construction, so you can't miss the big Cardinal bus.
We'll make sure you know where to go. So Dayton at the Recplex is where you're going to meet. And you'll park your car there or get dropped off there and get on the bus. Again, you can pick up your packet there. You'll take the bus, which is leaving from the Recplex at the University of Dayton at 1:00 p.m. Okay, and you will then get to John Carroll, check in, get your dorm key and everything, dinner at 6:00. Are we following? Cincinnati bus, Cincinnati friends, your departure time is at 12:30 p.m. Okay, you're going to meet at Yateman's Cove. We will make sure everyone has that address if you aren't familiar. Again, look for the big Cardinal bus. You cannot miss it. And you can get your packet there when you get there. Get on the bus at 12:30, and then you'll go to John Carroll. So we're all going to be meeting at John Carroll. Oh yeah, the big Penske trucks too. That's where you're going to put your bike on. Okay. So we're all going to meet at John Carroll. Our buses are going to be kind of trickling in. Everyone will get there around 4:30. Between like 4 and 5 or so, we'll call it, with all the buses arriving, everyone checking in, getting their dorm keys, maybe putting their luggage in their dorms, their bike into bike storage. And then we're all going to sit down, or not sit down, just mingle and eat dinner together at 6:00. After we have dinner, we will all move either inside or outside, depending on the weather, all to the same location for a presentation at 7:30. Okay, so we're going to have speakers. We're going to give you some lowdown on logistics and things. And then everyone can hang out, mingle. We're going to have beverages and snacks and all kinds of things until everyone wants to go back and go to sleep. How's that sound for Wednesday? Packet pickup.
Sounds good. And again, if you have any questions, I appreciate, Kevin, thanks for throwing your questions, and just, good reminder to everyone, if you have any questions as we go through this, throw them in the chat. But that's a good point. Packet pickup in Cincinnati and Cleveland will be at the American Cancer Society offices in those respective cities. But since we no longer have an American Cancer Society office in Columbus, packet pickup will be at my house. So if you are from Columbus and selected early Tuesday packet pickup, I will be sending you my address directly. So any other questions about Wednesday? Again, you're going to check in. If you're riding a bus, you're going to check in. If you got your packet ahead of time, you need to have your number on your bike before that bike goes on the, and I believe at John Carroll, it's going to be at the Dolan Science Center. And yeah, parking, good question about parking. Wherever you are starting, you leave your car. So if you are from Cleveland, you drive yourself to John Carroll and you leave your car at John Carroll, and you will be brought on a bus back to John Carroll. If you're from Columbus, you park at Otterbein, get on a bus and leave your car at Otterbein. If you're from Dayton, you park at the University of Dayton and leave your car there. And then in Cincinnati, you will leave your car at Yateman's Cove. So there is parking throughout the weekend at all of those locations, all the bus locations, and at John Carroll for the Cleveland people. That's a great question. So yeah, and again, so once you get your packet, I think the most important thing for the bus riders is that your bike number has to be on your bike before it gets loaded on that Penske truck, because you won't see it again until probably Thursday morning. So we want to make sure that everyone, when the bikes are stored, they will be under secure storage overnight. and there will be a volunteer coming. So, you know, if your bike doesn't have a number on it, they're going to have a hard time giving it to you, because they're checking that the number on your jersey and the number on your bike matches before you walk out of that storage with a bike. So make sure you get your number on your bike ahead of time. But yes, you can absolutely drive yourself to Cleveland at the start line as well. So let's, while we're talking about Thursday morning, let's go ahead and talk about that. What time is check-in and start and all that? Let's talk about the timing of Thursday morning.
Absolutely. So if you didn't pick up your packet either Tuesday or Wednesday, and maybe you're not joining us for the kickoff dinner Wednesday evening, all the leftover packets will be there for Thursday morning. So starting at 6 a.m., you know, we'll be set up and ready if you need to still pick up your packet Thursday morning before we have breakfast at John Carroll and gather for our start line. So the gathering for the start will be 8 a.m. for a departure by 8:30. And we are this year going to do one large start, as we have seen in previous years, unlike last year. And that will be escorted out by the John Carroll Police. If you have ridden with us in the past, you know that we ask all of our Dynamo Club riders to join us in the front of that lineup and escort. Those are all of our participants that have raised over 5,000 or more. So all the Dynamo riders will be called up to the front, and that will be our morning Thursday breakfast starting at 6, check-in. You'll see a lot of volunteers ready to help you with, you know, filling your water and Gatorade, and getting you ready to line up in front of the Dolan Center to do that police escort by 8:30 a.m.
Yeah, great question in the chat. Thanks for that one, Lucinda and Alyssa, for answering. And in case anyone didn't catch that, people who are coming in on the buses, the Penske trucks will be unloaded directly into bike storage. But if you live in Cleveland and you just want to bring your bike on Wednesday evening just to have that done and have it on campus already, or if you are, you know, staying, that's totally fine. You can bring your bike on Thursday to check in into the kickoff dinner. Keep it in bike storage overnight. That way you don't have to drag it back early in the morning. That's totally fine. And yeah, Brian, great question. Jerseys will be given out at packet pickup as well this year. So I know those of you that have been with us for a while, in some prior years, we did mail out jerseys ahead of time for those who qualified, but we're just a little concerned with the timing and maybe shipping and mailing and deliveries not being what they were and all that we've decided not to risk that someone's jersey is stuck between here and there while they're on their way up to Cleveland. So we are doing jerseys at packet pickup. So you can get them at your Tuesday packet pickup or on Wednesday.
And I would like to add that I know a lot of this sounds like it's just for riders, but this is volunteers too, because I do see a lot of our volunteers on the you know, call tonight. If you are not driving your own vehicle, you know, here's an example. Mike is one of our Penske truck drivers. Mike, if you want to ride the, you know, you'll be driving a Penske truck up from UD, you won't need your car. So you'll park your car as well at UD and you can drive up. And that's for any volunteers that aren't going to be driving their own cars. You're welcome to drive in with us on one of the buses if you live in one of those major cities of Cincinnati, Dayton, or Columbus and want to catch a bus. So all of this information is important for our volunteers as well, including, you know, the dinner times and all of those. So wanted to make sure I clarified that for our volunteers that are on the call.
Yes, and of course you're absolutely invited to every meal and event. So yeah, dinner, breakfast, and what about guests? Can we bring guests to the kickoff dinner?
Yeah, great question. So last year being an odd year with COVID precautions, we did not encourage everyone to invite guests, but we are back to that. So please invite your guests if you're local in the Cleveland area or at the University of Dayton for the recognition dinner, or if someone wants to drive in and join us, you know, please share that with your friends and family, invite them to join us. And I know we'll talk a little bit more about opportunities for them to maybe join us along the way too with volunteer help if they are interested. So please invite guests for both the kickoff on Wednesday, the recognition dinner on Saturday, and maybe along the way at a volunteer opportunity.
And another great question in the chat about the kickoff dinner about whether or not dogs are welcome and if it's a dog-friendly environment. And I would just say, you know, we are TBD on whether as to whether or not we're going to be primarily inside or outside for the meal. Our goal is to kind of have a lot of things out on the lawn outside, in which case I feel like absolutely our four-legged friends are welcome there. I'm not sure about any John Carroll policies on indoors inside the building. Do you know, Sarah or Alyssa?
I don't, but we could certainly ask for you, Leanne, if weather seems to be an issue. We can let you know.
Good question, because we would love to see Little Rose. Okay, so moving on then. All right, so we have the start line. We're all lined up at 8 o'clock for an 8:30 start. How long are we going to have? So I guess the daily overview, we will get into a little bit more specifics of routing a little bit later. But in general, Tony did ask about route lengths, and our routes are between 80 to 100 miles most days. I think day 1 came in about 85 miles. Days 2 and 3 are in the 90s, so this is going to be a little different. We'll talk about this more in detail, but we are going to have 2 pretty long back-to-back days. That shift to Dayton in part was to give ourselves a shorter day 4. So the trade-off for that is we're going to enjoy just 70 miles on day 4 instead of the 85 to 90 that we typically have coming into the finish line. So we will have a shorter day 4, but 2 longer days in the middle. But, and again, we'll talk about the specifics of the route a little bit later, but what kind of support is there? That's a very long ride. And I think Brian already sort of hinted to this in the chat at the beginning, saying, the whole day might be a little overwhelming, but that's okay. How can we think about going from water stop to water stop? Like, what do we have out there on the route for support? Alyssa, you want to talk about like the support that's waiting out there for riders?
Absolutely. Well, one awesome, unique thing about Pan Ohio is the support that you get out on that route. So our water stops are not just your average hydration station. You're not just going to get some water and Gatorade. We have water and Gatorade. We have, yes, Candace, the support is phenomenal. Anything that you can think that you would need out on that route, you can most likely find. We have snacks. We have snacks that cover all dietary restrictions. We have pickle juice this year. Yes, we do. We have an official sponsor this year. We will have pickle juice. It is not at every stop. We have thought through, I believe it's like kind of more after the lunch stops, a little bit later in the day. But yes, we are very excited about our pickle juice this year. All the salty and sweet snacks you could want. Peanut butter M&Ms, anything. Okay, good point, Chris. We have energy gels. We have Gatorade, and guess what? Not just watermelon. We have lots of different flavors this year. We don't know what they're going to be, or at least a variety. I promise it's not all just watermelon. Yes, I'm seeing lots of clapping. Last year was a very unique year. This year we put in that request. Actually, last year we need more than just one flavor, and it cannot be watermelon. So I can't promise we don't see any watermelon out there, but we will have a variety. We have protein drinks, we have peanut butter, we have fruit, we have muscle milk, we have, you name it, we have it for snacks and food and drinks. And all of our water stops are a little bit different too. They don't all have exactly the same things. But in addition to your nutritious needs, we also have fully stocked first aid and hospitality type kits at every station as well. So we have gauze, and we have Advil and Tylenol and Tums and antacids and all the different things that you can think of, Band-Aids of every size. We try to think ahead. This is not to encourage you not to bring your own things. If you have things that work for you, things you know that you rely on every time you ride, by all means, bring those with you. But if you're out on the route and you end up with a headache or a bee sting or a sunburn, we've got you covered. We will have sunscreen everywhere for you. Obviously, we're the American Cancer Society. We don't want people getting burned. So please use your sunscreen. So the actual water stops along the route are 100% stocked and ready for you. At each of the colleges, we have hospitality bins. If you forgot your shampoo, if you forgot a razor, most likely we've got you covered. I think we have enough shampoo and conditioner for a lifetime. So we've got you covered there. But again, in addition to all these awesome things, yes, chamois butter too. Again, yes. Don't hesitate to bring your own. Don't hesitate, because we all know we go through all of it. So if you have stuff that works, bring it. But yes, we've got you covered. So we have, all the hydration, the hospitality, the snacks, all of that. What happens if you're out on the route and you get hurt and you can't finish to the next stop, or you want to just go to lunch because you just need a break? we have our awesome support and gear vehicles that are out on that road, making sure that every single one of you is safe and, you know, well looked out for. So, and I know we'll get to this part a little bit later with the in some of the communication talks, but we encourage riders to download this Live 360 app. And we, like I said, we can talk more about that in a little bit as well. But basically, this is a way that you can join in with the SAG team, and they can kind of see your whereabouts. So if something were to happen and there were an emergency, they can kind of see live time where you're at on the route. So these SAG drivers are literally driving back and forth on these roads of the route, ensuring that, you know, nothing seems out of the ordinary. They will stop in major intersections to make sure that, you know, the traffic isn't too crazy, and they're making sure that riders are passing safely. And they're in constant communication with each other all along that day route. They also have constant connection to our life support team. So our ambulance team that's out there, they have a different name this year. Forgive me, Sarah.
Community Care Ambulance.
Thank you. So they are new to us this year, but they will be in constant contact with the SAG team. And again, Sarah just posted the Life 360 and the Pan Ohio hotline number if you need access to SAG. So all along this route, you are supported 100% of the way. We do not want people to overexert themselves where they're getting hurt and they're miserable and they feel like they can't do it. This is not a race. It's a 4-day tour. We want you to be able to do as much as you can. So if you know, do the first 20 miles on day 1 and you're like, this is too much, I took on way too much, or it's too hot, or whatever, there are people to help get you to where you need to be. So you can get to the lunch stop, you can go back to the college and finish early. It's really just about being open and communicating your needs to, you know, volunteers and to the SAG drivers as well.
Absolutely. And I will add, as a rider, the other thing that you find out there to support you along the route is other riders. You know, I think sometimes teams will stick together, sometimes they won't. Maybe you don't ride the same speed as your team, and that's okay. You can make it your ride. And chances are you're going to find some other people out there that are riding the style and pace of ride that you want to ride, and you're going to help each other along the way. But yeah, it's actually kind of cool to see the command station that our SAG team has going on. And it's once you get a little look behind the curtain there, it's like, wow, they really know where people are and they have eyes out there and they are watching out for people, which is just awesome. So thanks to Matt Nickerson and Susie Lawrence and the SAG team for keeping us safe out there. And I also want to just give a big shout out, since she's on the call too. Lori Wolahan has been one of our executive committee members this year. Bill and Lori Wolahan are in our exec team, and she's heading up that 4-day volunteer effort, and all those water stop volunteers are going to be well trained and ready to serve you and have everything you need. What if you get a bike mechanical issue, Sarah?
Yeah, I will say that our water stops are also every generally 10 to 20 miles, in case someone's wondering, and they'll obviously be fully marked, and you'll see the volunteers there with the cowbells and their volunteer shirts. But if a mechanical issue also does come up for you, you'll get support from our lovely bike mechanics. So this year we will have 2, Chet and Dan, along the whole 4 days of our ride. Generally, they kind of are with us every morning and afternoon at the colleges, but you might see them at lunch stops and along the route too. Generally, I think they start with us in the morning at the college, and then jump to lunch in case there is anything that is happening bike wise for you throughout the ride. Hopefully they can get a quick fix and you can continue riding on to the college, where you'll see them again in the afternoon. So we're so lucky to have Chet and Dan there to assist. They've been with us for many, many years, so I know many of you know them. I'm seeing the exclamations in the chat, but we're just so thankful for their support throughout the whole event in their Sprinter van with all the gear and supplies that they need. But I will say, we highly recommend, if you haven't already, we're pushing, a little close to the event, but get your bike checked before you join us. It's really critical that you feel like your bike is, ready for you to take on this long endeavor, but know that there is that safety net of having Chet and Dan to help you in case things arise. And we do have some things like tubes and bike air pumps with our SAG team as well. So They do carry some minimal items in the SAG vehicles along the way, but know what you should have, personally packed as well, maybe an extra tube and some of those things, and have your bike checked before you join us. But we're lucky to have that support.
Yeah. But yes, thank you for bringing that up. For sure, if you can get in, don't wait. Do that now, because there may be a little bit of a wait time at your local bike shop, but get an appointment sometime in the next few weeks if you can, to do that ahead of time. And thanks, Leanne, for circling back. There was a question in the chat about the snacks. I know, Alyssa, you mentioned there's a lot of things to accommodate various dietary restrictions, and someone asked about diabetic friendly snacks. We do try to have a good variety. So, thanks, as Leanne mentioned, things like nuts and fruits and more natural foods, in addition to peanut M&Ms and other sweet treats. If you do have anything very specific that you do need, though, we do recommend that you bring your own. We are going to have probably normal Gatorade and maybe not the lower sugar Gatorade. So if there are other hydration tablets or things that you need for specific dietary purposes, certainly we recommend bringing some of your own, but we try to have enough of a variety that it can accommodate everyone's needs as much as possible. And yeah, chamois butter. Get the stuff. They'll know what you mean when you're like, can I have the stuff? And you just kind of just point, and they know what you mean. Perfect. So again, yes, the days are long. The terrain is varied. It's going to be kind of a nice mix of trails and roads throughout the ride. Some parts of Ohio are pretty flat, but it is a myth to say that Ohio is a totally flat state. There are some hilly days and some challenging sections. But I think Brian hit it, and I just want to repeat that. You're not riding from Cleveland to Cincinnati all at once. You're riding from one stop to the next. And like Sarah said, they're usually around, somewhere between 10 to 20 miles. Usually we try to keep it right around 15 plus or minus, depending on where good stops are. And good question, Brian, just when the route is available. So, we 2 weeks before Pan Ohio always do a complete drive-through of the entire route with our SAG teams and the group that marks our route. So once we do that final drive-through and confirm everything, and one of the reasons we don't put the exact route earlier is because there are always changes. And in fact, there was a group that rode a training ride on part of it. And of course, you come across those beautiful signs that say, this section of road will be closed beginning July 5th for 70 days. And you're like, ah. And there's always one or two of those that we discover. And we have found that if we release the routes early, someone will download them and they won't go get the updates after that. So we always wait until we do that final course check 2 weeks prior to the event to make sure we've caught any detours and made any necessary adjustments. So those will be out in GPS files. Even after that, obviously things are always subject to change if last minute emergency detours come up. So we do recommend you stay tuned. We will talk about all of our communication channels. We recommend you download those to your device as late as possible, like maybe Tuesday night or Wednesday morning before you leave home. If you want to download those GPS routes to your devices, we recommend you wait until the last possible moment in case anything has changed. But yeah, look for those. We'll be doing that drive-through on the 9th and 10th, so look for those in that week after that. So yes, some road will get chip and tarred the week before the ride. Happens every year. There's at least one, and we'll have to find an alternate. So most parts of our routes, we have alternates in mind, and we'll work it out as necessary. But yeah, great question. I can tell you, do you want to talk preliminarily about what the route sort of looks like, Daryl?
Sure. I'm Daryl McGrath. I'm the route coordinator. I would circle back to one comment that was made that we are all types of terrain. I want to specify it's all paved. We're fair. Obviously, sometimes surprises are thrown at us, and we come across a road that is like last year. In the final days, a section of road was what do they call that, little pea gravel stuff was put out over it. And we made sure that it was still rideable, but we try to always be paved. So your skinny tire bikes should be fine for all 4 days. If you've ridden with us before on the 4-day traveling event, the first 2.5 days are going to look pretty familiar to you. The end of day 3 and all of day 4 is going to be brand new. But a good, the mix of trail and road, street roads and stuff is pretty common. The only thing that's going to be super different from a typical day 4 is going from Springfield to Cincinnati is usually all trail. That's not going to be the case this year. It's going to be a little bit of trail and a little bit more road.
Yeah, since we're doing Dayton instead.
Yeah. I would say back to the question about when will the routes be available. I think you pretty much hit on everything, but I'm constantly paying attention to road closures. I've signed up for all the alerts from Department of Transportation, Homeland Security, and
Every
Highway
county
Patrol.
we go through.
So all of those routes that will be posted in Ride with GPS. So you might want to create an account, a free account with Ride with GPS now if you don't already have one. But those GPX links will be updated live anytime there's any change to that. So you can download those as late as the morning of the ride if you need to.
Okay, so if you haven't
Yeah,
been with
question.
us before and you
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
know, yeah, I think that's a good question.
If you haven't before, day 1 is almost entirely road coming out of Cleveland. We go up along the lake for a bit, then we go down through the Rocky River Reservation. So it's several miles of a winding park road. Then we go through some kind of suburban neighborhoods, and then we kind of hit our rural outskirts. It's slightly hilly, but it's nothing terrible.
Rolling farmland.
Rolling farmland. After lunch, we come down through Medina, and as we get closer to Worcester, it becomes much more rolling. And corn, yes. Well, corn, soy, whatever.
Dairy.
Dairy, yeah, there's probably going to be some smells. Day 2, we leave Worcester, again, rolling Amish country until we get to the Holmes County Trail. And then, fortunately, or unfortunately, depending on how much you love trail, it's trail the whole rest of the way in. Trails have been connected between Centerburg and Sunbury, and then on through Galena, and then all the way down to campus. So if you can make it to
It's a little bit of road in
Yeah,
between after
there's
the
little
end,
tiny little
between
sections
Kilbuck
of
and
road.
Glenmont.
Yeah, you got to cross some streets.
Yeah, Brian's right on it.
Sure,
Road from
well,
Kilbuck
yeah.
to Glenmont. So yeah,
Yeah,
Holmes
that is
County
road.
Trail, little road to Glenmont, and then what is it?
But it is, yeah.
Holmes County, and then Kokosin Gap to Heart of
Yeah.
Ohio. Lots of cool Ohio trails that
Yeah.
day.
And the majority of that trail is rail trail. So if you've ever done a rail trail, you know they're not very curvy and they're not very steep. They have to be. Back in the day, they actually had working trains riding those same grades. So they're kind of scenic, kind of fun. And then on day 3, we leave and head through classic Central Ohio flat farmland. Then it gets a little hilly, nothing compared to the Worcester area, but there's a little bit of hill as we come down into South Charleston, and then we jump on the trail. Again, it's a rail trail, so it's really easy, and that pretty much takes us all the way into Dayton. And then in Dayton, on day 4, we're following a riverside trail, so that follows the contours of the river. And then we hit roads from about a third of the way in, and then we go through Cincinnati, which obviously is a pretty hilly city, but we've done our best to smooth it out as much as possible. And I think that
So,
kind of
yeah.
covers it.
So yeah, it's a nice mix to see a little bit of everything the state has to offer, from some of our very scenic trails to the beautiful rural farm countryside. As Daryl said, suburban areas, and then there's a little bit of urban riding, getting in and out of our major cities, leaving out on Thursday morning through Cleveland. We are going through downtown, and then obviously coming into downtown Cincinnati on Sunday. So just know we'll have to be a little bit aware of everything. Maybe a little slower coming into Cincinnati, coming in that way than we're used to. There is going to be a home Reds game that day. So just be mindful, take it easy coming in. You may hit a lot of red lights. There may be pedestrian traffic, but I just feel like take it easy, soak it in, and enjoy those last few miles rolling in, even if it's a little slower than we're used to. But yeah, should be a good mix. To the question on daily mileage, our working routes right now, day 1 is about 85 miles. Day 2 is about 95. Day 3 is about 95. We are going to have a couple of challenge segments on each of those days. So if anyone wants to add the County Road 6 challenge route, so those of you who aren't familiar with that, between Kilbuck and Glenmont, where we just mentioned there is a road segment connecting the trails, you can take a pretty easy road, or if you'd like a challenge, you can take Holmes County Road 6, which has, pretty classic legendary hill on it, lots of big rollers after that, and a classic Yeti sculpture that's sort of the photo op for people who chose to tackle the hill. So you can choose either of those directions between Kilbuck and Glenmont, and those will be marked. It does add a couple of miles to about 97 if you take that challenge route. Day 3's route is going to be approximately 95 miles, but we do have an additional 4 or so miles if you choose to take a little more scenic route. The more direct route into campus is about 95, but we will have a challenge route option there to continue on north to the river and right along the riverscape area and come into the campus from the other direction. And that will add about 4 miles to make it about 99. And then, yeah, day 4 is going to come in right in about 70 miles. So a little bit shorter day 4 than we're used to. And sorry, day 1 was about 85. 85, 95, 95, 70, with options to add a few miles on those middle days. And we know at that point, a lot of people want to round up to a century. We recommend if you choose to do that, that you do it at the end of your day when you're sure you have time, and just like take some extra lap through Otterbeins campus or the University of Dayton's campus to round up your couple extra miles at the end of the day. If you like to see that nice round number on your odometer, feel free if you have time. But yeah, I think while we're talking about route and talking about those 2 long days, that is a little different for us to have 2 very long days back to back like that. And since Saturday is our recognition dinner, there is going to be something a little different for Pan Ohio this year. Typically on day 4, there's a little bit of time pressure because we are trying to get to that finish line in time for everyone to catch the buses. So most of the time, on days 1 and 2, you can kind of take your time, right at your pace. But we are going to actually institute a cutoff time on day 3, just in fairness to all of our volunteers and to make sure that everyone can get to that recognition dinner. So we will be posting that far in advance. If you feel like your pace is going to be a little behind to make the cutoff, we recommend you do skip a segment. And like everyone said, our support and gear vehicles are ready to take you wherever you need to go. And obviously, if you're doing math, you know that this route ends up to considerably more than the historical classic 328 anyway. So you're still going to get your 328 in, even if you skip a segment and jump from like maybe lunch to another water stop or skip something, or if you get to that last water stop and decide you're done for the day. That's totally okay. We recommend that because we want everyone to be finished by 6 o'clock that day. So if you know your pacing is going to be a little slow, that's okay. Plan your day accordingly and maybe leave a little bit earlier in the morning. But our course will be closed at 6, so we will have time cutoffs at each of the lunch from lunch and each of the stops after that. And if you're not through, we will politely ask you to be just scooted forward a little bit so that you can finish with everyone and that all of our volunteers and everyone can be back on campus in time to enjoy the recognition dinner. Anything I missed on that, Sarah?
No, that's perfect. I'll circle back and say that I know we talked about downloading the route. We also do print limited supply of the route. So if you do like to have a hard copy, of the turn by turn, we do print those and they'll be available at check-in tables. And we also last year added QR code, quickly accessible images at our check-in for you to be able to grab the daily route or the daily newsletter to know what's happening that day on campus, or even to get a copy of the guidebook. So we'll email it out. If you want to pull something up again and reference it, we will have QR codes for all of those things at check-in with the printed route. It is very clearly marked. The guidebook does show you a picture of what our signage looks like. So if you are a new rider, you'll get to see that in the guidebook to have a good visual of what you'll be looking for the signs. But I will add that there are segments where if something does change, we'll throw orange reflective arrows, and there's an image of that in the guidebook. This year's 2 challenge routes that Stacy mentioned, so the County Road 6 and the segment for Dayton coming along the river through Riverscape, we are going to sign those 2 challenge areas with the sticker orange arrows. That will all be clearly described, like I said, in the guidebook. And when you're out on the course, but wanted to make sure I mentioned those two things about routing in case anyone is new and hasn't seen our signs and what they look like. But we have a company, Runiversity, that does all of our signage for us, and all the signs look the same. So once you see them, you'll start to know that you're following the right course. But no, you can have your download and the printed version of the route as additional support.
Read my mind on the next question. I'll just say, all right, how is the route marked? You gotta, thank you for covering that. That's perfect.
Yeah.
And again, we'll also have examples of those signs and those arrows at the start. Dwayne, I saw your question. We're gonna come back to that one in a sec. In addition to the challenge routes being marked by the orange arrows, there are actually at least 1 or 2 municipalities that won't allow signs. So there will also be, definitely through Westerville, you will also be seeing the orange arrows on the pavement instead of the posted signs. So we'll make sure to let you know where those areas are. But again, so there's 2 things you're looking out for, mostly the arrow signs that are big red signs with arrows, and then orange sticker arrows, or in some occasions spray paint. But please note that if we ever have to use the orange spray paint for anything, it will have a PO spray painted with it. We have had the unfortunate occurrence of some random orange arrows on the road that were not put there by us, that our riders have followed in the past. So do not follow just any old random orange spray painted arrows that may be a marking from some other route. If you see orange spray painted arrows, make sure there is a PO spray painted with it. But again, we will try to use the stickers and the signs as much as possible. And yeah, printed cue cards will be available. And they do have the mileage to them, like how far it is to the next turn and what your total distance is for the day on it. So you can totally see all of that. Any other questions on routing before we get into this lodging discussion that Dwayne's kicking off for us here? And again, elevation, do you know what the daily elevation totals are?
I can tell you, but I would not take this with a grain of salt, because these elevations, sometimes it's all at once and sometimes it's spread out over 100 miles. So it's not, on day 1, we have a total of 2702 feet. Day 2 is 2616 feet. Day 3 is 2122 feet. And day 4 is 1637. So like, again, using day 2 as an example, the last 60 miles or so is a rail trail, but it actually gets to the highest point on the entire Ohio to Erie Trail, just out of Centerburg. So you don't notice that you're going uphill that whole time. You feel it in your bones, but you can't tell that you're climbing. It's not like County Road 6. So,
psychologically messes with me because I just feel like I'm sluggish and can't get any speed, and then you realize later it's because you were going uphill.
But we're not doing 4,000 feet in 20 miles. I'm sorry.
No mountains.
Sorry to tell some of you, but the rest of you will be glad to know that it's roughly 2,000 feet per day.
And again, if you like the hills and you want to add some more, we do recommend that County Road 6 challenge route is a fun place to add some climbs during the week. But great question, Brian. Thanks for bringing this one up. Day 4, we are not doing a staging area this year. So Brian asked, those of you that have been with us know that sometimes in past years, we have set up a staging area where we have held people and then done large wave groups escorted into the finish. Just due to what's going on and the home baseball game and coming in, and we'll be interested to get feedback. We've had mixed feedback. Some people love that experience of the big group finish. Other people would rather just finish on their own time and not sit at that staging area and wait for people. So this year we're not. We do recommend that, if you want to finish with your team, there's a parking lot about a half a mile to a mile out that will note on the cue cards, like this is a great place to pull over and just kind of stop on your own if you want to wait for a couple teammates or mass up into small groups on your own. But we are not having official large staged escorts in to the finish this year. So good question on that. Anything else on route? And again, you're going to think of questions later. That's okay. This is not your only opportunity to ask questions. If you have any questions later, panohioinfo@cancer.org. We'll go to all of those awesome staff members. So whichever one is available to get back to you, we'll do so very quickly. You're also welcome to email me directly, Stacy@bearmoose.org. And one of us will get back to you And with that, yeah, let's go ahead and talk about the colleges and the lodging. Sarah, you want to talk a little bit about the rooming situation? Dwayne's wondering when he's going to find out who his roommate is.
Great question. So we this year have, if you've already filled out your lodging logistics and intake form, noticed that we are allowing everyone to request mutual roommates if they would like, or purchase a single room. If you did not indicate a roommate, but did purchase a double room, you will be assigned a roommate. And I will tell you that I personally do those. And we try to always make sure it's a teammate or someone you know. If you're new, please direct any of those thoughts to me. But over the years, doing this enough and knowing who your teammates are and who you ride with, if you for some reason didn't request a roommate but purchased a double ticket, coordinate with me. And just know that it'll be someone that's generally on your team or that you've, mentioned as someone you like to ride with or I've seen you riding with. So that is, as far as lodging goes, you have the option to purchase a single or a double and request a roommate. Each college is a little different. Some are traditional style colleges where it's the rooms and hallways in the bathrooms are in the hallway for everyone to access. I think there's only one of those in Worcester. Otherwise, most are the suite style where you go in and there's a shared bath for 2 or 3 bedrooms that all have private doors. So if you requested a single, no, you'll have that private room with a door. But sharing a bathroom is pretty common. They're just set up that way. So you will have your private room, but in the suites, you'll share that bath in the common area or a bath down the main hall of the dorm. So each dorm is set up differently on each college campus. But if you did pay for a single, you'll have that private room. I hope that answers most lodging questions. As far as what to pack, there is a list in the guidebook. All linens are provided by the school. So when you check in, you'll get a linen packet with towels, sheets, pillow, real pillows for anyone that was with us the year at Otterbein, and it was a blow up pillow. They are not using that vendor, thank goodness, anymore. So real pillows, sheets, towels. But if you like to bring a blanket or something extra, by all means, please include that in your luggage that you pack. I know that sometimes it can get cold in the air conditioning rooms of the colleges, but pack, as far as luggage goes, we ask that you try to have no more than 2 large duffel bags. And as a joke, we say we're going to weigh the bags and announce who the rider is that has the heaviest bag, but we don't. But know that we personally put your luggage on and off Penske trucks every day. So keep that in mind for us. And we ask you try to keep them under 50 pounds to be generous to us staff and volunteers. But 2 bags under 50 pounds each. In your packet, you will be given tags to put on your bags as well. So Stacy mentioned your bike and having a number on that. Please know that you'll get a luggage tag that also reflects that. So it'll have your name, your rider number, and your college dorm assignments if you're staying in the dorms, or if you're in a hotel, it'll say hotel. But we want to make sure that you put your luggage tag on your bags as well. So they're easy for you to spot, for us to spot, and we know where they need to go each day for the colleges. So know that when you arrive, they'll be in the college lobbies, the dorm lobby. And if you're camping, it'll be in the camping area. I think so far we have a handful of campers that have requested to camp instead of staying in the dorms. And then if you're staying in the hotel, you'll see signs that say hotel luggage, and your bags will be in that appropriate pile. So definitely help us out by keeping the luggage tags on your bag, or bags if you choose to bring 2.
Couple more things to add, Sarah. One is make sure that you return your room keys. Every single day we will have a lot of signs saying, don't forget, hey, did you forget your room key? Don't forget to drop off your room key. We get charged for every one of those that doesn't come back to the college. So obviously it's an accident, it happens. But if you can try to remember each day, remind your friends, remind your suite mate or whatever, just to make sure that you do drop your key. It might be an actual key, it might be a key card, just kind of depends what the college gives us. But we'll have instructions each day. Just as we tell you what to do with your luggage, we'll tell you what to do with your room key as well.
If you are staying in the hotel, you might be saying, well, how do I get to the hotel? We do have shuttles. So there are smaller Cardinal bus shuttles available every day. If you did choose to stay in the hotel, that will be available going back and forth between that respective college and our hotel where we have the room blocks. So if you did select hotel in your lodging intake form, know that we have the transportation available for you to go back and forth. That includes volunteers. We are staying at the same hotels, so all that information will be in the guidebook, but the shuttles are available if you don't have your own vehicle, volunteers, and of course for all riders that are choosing to stay in the hotels.
And obviously every college will have its own bike storage location. We really encourage riders not to take their bikes to the rooms. That's kind of just per the college, tracking dirt and mud, and they have to flip these dorm rooms really quickly to get them ready for the students come August. So please respect that and follow. When we send out the guidebook, there will be maps in there of all the campuses so that you guys can see like where exactly on campus bike storage will be, in conjunction to where you'll finish the ride, where you'll start in the morning, all those things. And we will make sure that there's signage and you guys know every day where you're coming and going. I know, Sarah, there was a couple questions on like kind of like a daily campus walkthrough. Do you want to start with that, or do you want me to? Yeah,
certainly. So in the guidebook, it is kind of outlined by date and time. So hopefully it's easy to follow along. We did already mention that the start line is the only point where we're going to have an escort, and that is a full lineup of everyone, all riders, 8 o'clock, and we'll take off at 8:30. The other 3 days, it is rolling start. You can wake up, get your bike out of bike storage, eat breakfast, and start on your own time with your teammates if you wish, but that'll be rolling departure on your own. So because days 2 and 3 are long, both 95 miles, we're offering the breakfast and rolling start to begin at 5:30. So we want you to be able to get out as early as you need, knowing it is going to be a longer day. So, plan accordingly to what time you like to leave, and when we're asking everyone to be in, especially Saturday, by 6 o'clock, give yourself the time you need. So 5:30 to 8 a.m. If your bike is still there, we will start to check in if it's getting close to 8 o'clock. To see where you are. So
I just want to go on record and say I don't know anyone that's ever gotten a phone call from Paul Purdy to say that their bike was the last one in storage. Just saying.
Hey, where are you? Yes, you'll start.
That happens. You're gonna get a phone call if you're too late getting your bike out of storage. That's a true story.
So 5:30 to 8 on days 2 and 3, with breakfast available. Day 4, 6 to 8 a.m. So leaving UD, it is a shorter day. So that won't begin until 6. But thankfully at most of the schools, bike storage, breakfast are all very close by to where the dorms are. In fact, at UD, everything but the recognition dinner is in one building. So other than going to the special recognition dinner, bike storage, breakfast, the social, your rooms are all in one building. So we try to make it easy, for you to not have to walk too far between locations. The colleges are wonderful in partnering with us. But Thursday, we've talked through start line and breakfast at John Carroll. The next day at Worcester is going to look a little different for those of you that have been with us in the past. The Lowry Student Center at Worcester is completely under construction. And this has been a planned project for them through COVID. They're still working on that. So our check-in is going to look completely different at the College of Worcester for all of us. And that's going to be at Compton Hall. It will be clearly marked on the maps and with all of our signage. But you'll ride in the daily finish line at Worcester and check in at Compton Hall. Because the food and all of the facilities were also in the Student Center, you may be wondering, well, what about dinner? So that's completely under construction as well. So we had to get a little unique, if I'm being honest, and creative and flexible at the College of Worcester. And we're really thankful that they're still offering us to be able to stay on campus. We're going to have a food truck rally, if you will. So we have partnered with some local food trucks. The College of Worcester had been doing this for their students throughout the year, and that's how they were feeding the students. So we're going to have a variety of food trucks available, and we're going to give you some POHR money. We'll get fun and creative on how the money looks when we print it, but ultimately it is, covered by ACS, but we will give you spending funds to get to enjoy these food trucks for the social and dinner. It even includes a vegetarian vegan food truck. So when I say variety, we did try to keep that in mind with the food trucks. So you'll get some bucks to spend at the food trucks for that social and dinner. And we'll have a huge tent behind Compton Hall where we can all enjoy ourselves and have dinner, and the social with beverages. And so that's just going to look a little different, but we've, are very excited about being able to still be on campus and partnering with the College of Worcester. So breakfast will be at a smaller dining hall. We won't require food trucks again for breakfast. That's going to be at Kittredge Hall. Again, that will be clearly marked on the map, but it's a little smaller dining service area that we didn't want to try to cram everyone into for dinner, but we will offer breakfast out of. So that's what you can expect coming in to Worcester.
Chime in on that, Sarah has mentioned, socials and happy hours and beverages. So yes, and on all of our campuses this year, that does mean that, those of us that might like to have a recovery beer or two, we'll be able to do that on all of our campuses. So we will have beer available at the kickoff dinner, probably beer and wine at the kickoff dinner, and at least beer, if not beer and wine, at our socials at all three of our campuses there, at Worcester, at Otterbein, and at the University of Dayton socials. And then also some donated beer at the finish line. So if that was a question, no, you don't need to sneak your flask along. We will have beer available at all of our socials as well on campus, and wine. So yeah, it's a fun experience. I think there's definitely a lot of fun things to do in the neighborhoods on some of these campuses, particularly around Otterbein and at our new campus at Dayton. And there's also a great brewery down the hill from the College of Worcester. But also, you don't need to feel like you have to go off campus if you want to have a fun social evening as well. There's going to be a lot going on right on campus as well, with DJs and socials and maybe karaoke one night and things like that. Possibly some games in the works for Otterbein, and more to come on all the fun with that. So yeah, any other questions on the daily rider experience? And again, our goal, our staff and our volunteers do such an incredible job that by the time you show up on Wednesday, you shouldn't have to think about anything else until you get home Sunday. Our staff and volunteers really want to make sure that you're well taken care of, that you never have to think about what am I going to eat and where am I going. You just kind of follow along. Your luggage will be moved for you. Everything will be taken care of. And I just, a huge shout out. I know I'm really excited to see a lot of our volunteers on this call tonight. Just thank you for being such a big part of this and making it possible that the riders can just show up and ride bikes and then socialize in the evenings and have a really fun weekend of it. Okay.
I can cover recognition dinner next if you want.
That'd be great.
I know that was in the chat. Obviously, we talked about the rolling starts and dinner and the socials kind of being over open-ended times. So dinner at Worcester and dinner at Otterbein and the socials are kind of come as you'd like. So when you finish, knowing that your pace and speed are all different, we'll have the social and happy hour being refreshed, as far as hors d'oeuvres and snacks periodically by the catering staff. And then we'll have the food trucks at Worcester. Dinner for Otterbein will be in their regular dining facility in the campus center. So you can eat as you'd like within the time frames, but Saturday is unique. So that is really the only time that we try and have planned over the years and really love to be able to have dinner all together. So all volunteers, all participants, and we call it our recognition dinner. So it's a special time for us to celebrate, come together, hear from a few guest speakers that have very impactful connection to our mission and the Hope Lodge and why we're raising the funds that we are. And we like to celebrate. So recognizing all of your amazing fundraising efforts and the top teams and top individuals, thanking all of our incredible sponsors and partners. So that recognition dinner is really a fun opportunity for us all to be together. So though the other nights, our dinner and social kind of come and go, Saturday at 7 p.m., we will have that sit down catered meal all together on University of Dayton's campus. You may see a familiar Dayton celebrity or two if you're from UD or the Dayton area. We're going to have some fun energy going into the recognition dinner, with some pep band music perhaps and some local UD faces. So we're hoping to make it a really great time for us all to be together and celebrate. So if you've never been with us, that's what that recognition dinner is, and that's why it looks a little different than the other evenings coming onto campus. So otherwise, enjoy the socials and dinner with your teammates and new friends that you meet along the way, and that will be the really only sit down dinner other than kickoff that we all enjoy together.
Family reunion, yes. Cool. So if anyone has any other follow-up questions on that, throw them in the chat. But I think that's something I missed a lot, was all being able to gather together and share a meal in one place together these past couple of years. It's going to be very special. So just to shift topics a little bit, I think in an ideal world, all 4 days of our ride are going to be, 75 to 80 degrees, maybe some light cloud cover for shade, but no rain and no wind. And it's just going to be like the most perfect riding, right? Unfortunately, in Ohio in July, we know that's not true. There is the possibility of inclement weather, whether it's thunderstorms that come rolling through that cause us to have to take cover, or in some cases, excessive heat. So Sarah, can you talk about safety protocols a little bit for weather and the course color coding system?
Absolutely. So our SAG vehicles, the support and gear vehicles, carry a flag system. So that is in the guidebook, green, yellow, red, and black. That's all in conjunction with the command trucks. So Matt Nickerson and Susie Lawrence are names we mentioned, are SAG co-leads. They work with our command truck radio volunteers to monitor the weather and to be able to announce what the course condition is. So if it's green, that means good condition, all is well. Yellow might mean less than ideal. So if it is a really, really high heat day, we may say to slow down and pay attention to that with the yellow flag. Or if perhaps some rain is in the radar, we may make it a yellow flag. Red and black are the ones to pay attention to, and to note that if it is dangerous condition, we will mark the course red flag. That basically means to remain at a shelter if possible. So if you're at a water stop, I've seen photos over the years and know all of your stories, some random cornfield shelter that you pass by, or a Sunoco gas station. If it's red and we have a thunderstorm, we definitely want you to try to seek shelter as needed and slow down until we make an announcement of what the decision will be to either keep course open or go black flag, which means closing the course. In my 6, almost 7 years, we've never black coursed, knock on wood. I know
it happened one time in the 15 years of Pan Ohio. It's happened once, and it was for excessive heat index over 105.
Fingers crossed. I have seen us go yellow and red though, so I want to make note of that we do want you to try to monitor that with the SAG vehicles and our text system. So we do use a system called Slick Text that all riders who are registered and volunteers who are signed up to volunteer with us, if we need to send an announcement, we will do that through Slick Text. So it will immediately go to all of you. That's if there's a major change in the route, we will notify you via Slick Text. Course closure or anything about dangerous conditions, perhaps any major updates for the day, we will send that through Slick Text, and then of course partner with the SAG and command center volunteers to ensure that the condition of the course and what to expect ahead.
Yeah. And again, obviously we're riding for 4 days. It's going to happen rain or shine. Certainly if it's raining, you're going to keep riding your bike, and that's okay. But safety has to come first. So we always want to make sure we have a safe, fun, and meaningful event. So, we do say if it does come to that, please know that if we had to go to a black flag and closing the course, that is a very difficult decision, and it is 100% made because it is the only way to keep people safe. So hopefully we'll never come to that again. Like I said, it's only happened once in 15 years. If that does happen, please be patient and follow the lead of your SAGs, and know that, in that event, it also is going to take some time for those SAGs to be able to shuttle everyone to the finish line. But just everyone look out for each other. We won't get into it in detail today, but safety is everyone's responsibility, and looking out for each other. If you have missed any of our enrichment series calls, there are recordings out there, but we did a call on training and nutrition and distance cycling and what to watch out for. And we did cover a lot of those. What are some of the signs of heat exhaustion or dehydration and things that you can watch out for in yourself? And also be keeping an eye out for those cyclists around you. And if you see any signs of that, make sure that someone gets to some shade and gets some ice and gets some water and can cool off. So I think typically in July in Ohio, heat is our biggest danger as far as weather is concerned, and those occasional pop-up storms. So thanks for posting that. Sarah's got the link to those. If you're not familiar with those signs of dehydration and bonking and heat exhaustion, read up on that, just for your own good and to watch out for each other. So appreciate that. Any other questions about that? Well, one other note on communication. In addition to the slick text that Sarah mentioned, if you are a Slack user and you like Slack, we have a group Slack too. So I think you will probably need to email me for a link to that. We will also include an invite link with the recording of this. We've not been using it much, but we're going to ramp that up over the next few weeks and use that too. If you have the Slack app on your phone, I find that an easier way sometimes to get messages than texts. So that's also an option. Anything that we communicate in one platform, we will communicate across all platforms. So, if you're in the Slack text and that's good enough, that's fine. If you want to get the Slack threads or join those and start some discussions with other people as well, that's also great. And then I think we mentioned there will be a daily newsletter in the morning too with what you can expect for the events of that day. And then also, the volunteers, how do you know who the volunteers are and who you can ask for questions? We introduced all the staff faces, but how will I know who I can go ask for other help along the ride, Alyssa?
Sorry, I was on mute. They will all have Pan Ohio volunteer t-shirts. And this year's color is red.
Red.
Light red.
Yes, it is red. And they will all have
a bright red. Yeah.
Bright red. And they will have name tags as well. So, but basically these are going to be the faces that you see at your water stops and at the colleges. They're going to be the ones that are, filling up the jugs of water or helping you, hand out the snacks at the water stops. This event would not be possible without the volunteers. We are so excited to be able to welcome back our water stop volunteers this year and our college volunteers last year. We managed to operate with an incredible core group of 40 volunteers who a lot of are returning this year, which is amazing. We've switched up our volunteer structure a little bit, being led by Lori. And she is doing a great job leading these strong volunteers who are then helping out their new volunteers. So it's really going to be awesome. So along the way, please make sure to thank your volunteers. Again, it would not be possible without them. And they have just as much fun out there as you guys do too, which is really awesome. So the more fun you're having with them, and we tell them the same thing, the better the day is going to be, the more energy that's out there. But look for anyone with a friendly smile, with a Pan Ohio volunteer shirt, probably a name tag, and probably running around like crazy, because that's what our volunteers do. And there's still plenty of opportunities for volunteer sign up. So if you have a family member that wants to come out and cheer you on at a water stop, but also maybe wants to have a couple friends come and volunteer, there are still plenty of spaces available. Just because it looks like a group might have filled up a water stop doesn't mean you can't join in and help out in the fun. Lots of opportunities for start line and finish line help as well as the colleges. So thank you for posting those links, ladies, in the chat.
Sarah was just a little quicker than I was on that draw there.
Okay.
Getting that link out there in the chat.
Guys
And
are on
they
it.
get t-shirts. They're going to get some cool bright red Pin Ohio t-shirts. And of course, volunteers are always welcome to join us for all of the social events and dinners and stuff like that as well. So definitely appreciate everyone. And if you know anyone that would like to join us, send them our way.
And being able to run around like crazy is not a requirement of a volunteer.
It is not.
We
That
actually
is
need some volunteers to just sit quietly and count riders as they go by and things like that. So
Absolutely.
everyone is welcome.
That's true. There are certain volunteer positions that require, quick note, I just want to circle back to the bike storage comment Alyssa made before about encouraging use of bike storage. We actually were a little bit lax on that at Otterbein last year and got a little bit of a hand slap from them. So, just out of respect to our colleges, it's more than an encouragement, I'd say, but just to let you know, like they are secured, right? Like that is a volunteer's job who is willing to sit at the bike storage and watch the bikes coming and going and make sure that in the morning, the person who's leaving with a bike has a matching number and all that. So yeah, that kind of job is available for volunteers as well. And then, yeah, of course, that volunteer will stay there until all the bikes are picked up in the morning. And once the bikes are in at night, that building will be secured and locked and no one will be able to access them. So yeah, that's a good point. You don't have to run around like crazy. We also need some volunteers who are content to sit in a place for a while as well.
Read a book.
Candace, that's awesome. Okay, so yeah, create your own 328ers. If you're doing your own ride, certainly feel free to join us. And even if you don't have time to volunteer as a create your own rider, please feel free to join us for the dinner as well at Dayton Saturday evening, or if you're in Cleveland on Friday nights. Would love that. What other questions do people have? I think, well, maybe I'll open up. Sarah, Alyssa, did we miss anything major?
I wanted to note that with your packet, I know we mentioned jerseys will be included. If you qualify by raising 1328, you're also going to get a t-shirt this year. So I know last year we did not provide participant t-shirts. This year, those shirts are back. So all registered participants will get a shirt that is a blue color this year. So I know we mentioned volunteers being a bright red. All participants will get a blue shirt, also a water bottle. Those are annually donated to us by Zarist and really great design to match our jerseys. So water bottle, shirt, and jersey, if you qualify, will be included in packets this year. We will offer merchandise, limited select items. We know sometimes maybe you need an extra pair of gloves or new pair of bike shorts, but that will only be present at kickoff dinner and the finish line. So we do want you to be able to get some Pin Ohio items. If you are a 1 or 2 day volunteer, obviously those items will be on our Penske trucks. It's just a lot to take on and off the trucks every single day, but I don't want to say that if you do really need something, to not ask us. We're more than happy to get it for you. We just won't have the full setup at every college. All the items will be available at kickoff and finish line, but I will say grab one of us and we can help you if there are things that you need or want to purchase throughout those other days, even though we won't have the tables fully set up.
That actually brings up a great point to any other 1 and 2 day riders that may not be with us for that first packet pickup on Wednesday. If I'm a rider that's only riding the weekend, where do I get my packet?
So a lot of people I know, and seeing your intake forms coming through, are coordinating either getting it in advance, even though you may only be riding 1 or 2 days, or maybe you're getting a teammate to pick it up. I have noticed some of that. And so that's completely fine as well. But if you are wanting to pick it up yourself at the colleges, we'll be available. Every day you'll see a kind of a hub check-in point where a staff will be. So all of the packets that do need to be picked up will be there if you haven't coordinated to either get it Tuesday or Wednesday in advance. So definitely check in with us if you're a 1 and 2 day volunteer. And we'll have any of the items that you didn't pick up in advance. And we'd love just to say hi to you and welcome you before you start your journey. So please come see us at check-in.
One other thing to add, well, 2 other things to add. One, at the finish line, we will have the shower trucks. So that's just something to keep in mind. if you want to bring anything, bring a towel. But I know that's unique. We haven't had that in a couple years because we haven't needed to. So those will be back again this year. And Garden of Hope. We do encourage people to buy the Garden of Hope. We'll be selling those again. Same with merchandise at the start line and the finish line as well.
So those are pinwheels in honor or in memory of your loved ones who have been impacted by cancer. So hopefully you've seen over the course of the last few months that Garden of Hope announcement. We know some people have already been purchasing them in advance, which is lovely. We're so excited to get to display those again and honor all of those loved ones. But if you do want to get them during the event, they'll be available at the merchandise table, like Alyssa said.
Perfect. Had a question in the chat about the fundraising. When is our deadline to hit our minimum to ride?
That's a great question. We are, one of the beautiful things I think about POHR is the support that we're able to offer each other. So we do not charge credit cards to reach the minimum. We want to be able to help you through that fundraising journey all the way through the event. So reach out to us if you need additional support other than the fundraising guidebook that's already been released and it's on the website. But no, we have riders that fundraise during the event all the way through the event. So we work with each rider one-on-one to reach those various fundraising minimums, whether you're a 1, 2, or 4-day rider. So great question, but definitely take advantage of.
I think our event season is going to close August 31st. So you will be asked to recommit if you're, a little short of that at the time of the ride. We hope that you'll still commit to keep working toward that, like Sarah said, through the event and even after the event. And yeah, great question from Zach. Yes. Teams, if you need to shift some funds around and you want to work as a team, go ahead and email the specifics of that to panohioinfo@cancer.org, and staff can kind of help you shift team funds around within your team if necessary. That's fine. Or if someone made a donation to your team, let us know how you want that split out to individual fundraisers. That's absolutely fine. And we appreciate teams that help each other out like that. That's great. And with that too, you can still earn all those incentives up through August 31st too. So even if you came up short of some incentives, 4-day riders, 2-day riders, 1-day riders, supporters, if you're a volunteer and you want to collect donations in support of your efforts as supporting this event, you can sign up for free as a POHR supporter, which also gets you the same fundraising dashboard. We have a lot of volunteers who are like, hey, I'm donating my time to this. Would you support me with a donation? And you are eligible to earn all the same incentive items as well.
Yeah, I just want to quickly circle back. The shower truck made me think at the end of the ride. During the 4 days, we're all traveling across together, so we're in the same. All of our bikes and luggage is in the same truck, moving from point to point. At the end, you have to put your bike on a truck that's specifically gonna take your bike back to your hometown where your car is parked. And your baggage will also be set out. So you collect your baggage and you make sure that that's with you on your bus. And that's where you'll have a change of clothes. So you don't have to be on the bus for 2 hours or 4 hours or wherever you're going in cycling clothes. So that's the beauty of the shower. So
yeah,
bring a light t-shirt, shorts, some comfy shoes and some socks.
But don't then leave your bag out there. No one's going to come pick your bag up
Yeah.
after that. You got to get your own bag on the
Yeah.
bus.
Make sure your bag and your bike are going to your home.
And if you have people that are coming to pick you up, you'll load your bike on any personal vehicle. If you do have friends and family, love for as many guests to join us at Yateman's Cove to cheer you all in. So please encourage guests to join us. There will be a big catered dinner and beverages there. So you're welcome. But yes, if you're riding one of the buses back home, make sure you put your bike on the correct Penske truck. They're labeled based on the city. But that's a really good point, Carol, to add. If someone's not picking you up, make sure your bike gets on the bus.
Even if you're a veteran POHR rider, it's been a few years. I think we're all going to be a little rusty on what to do at the end.
What other questions does everyone have?
Hello?
Yes.
Hey, Don.
Yeah, hi, how are you guys? Looking
Great.
good. Good to see you all tonight. Hey, I have a question. I'm doing the 2-day from John Carroll to Westerville, Overland, and I'm staying with my nephew in Westerville overnight. And my question is on which will be Saturday, I'll be down there. If I could go drive to the reward dinner in Dayton, or is that not possible?
Absolutely. We would not have the busing transportation, but if you have,
Oh, I understand that.
yeah, we would love for
Yeah.
you to come jump ahead and join us. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Do I need to have reservations? They have to have reservations and know I'm coming or anything, or?
No, as a registered rider, you're included in our number, and we even generally for both those big dinners include guests. So
Okay, that was my next question. If it'd be okay to have one guest.
absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Certainly. Good.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, super excited you can join us. Fundraiser alert in the chat. Thank you. Zach, anyone in the Cleveland area, if you didn't see that in the chat, Saturday, July 2nd. And Sarah or Alyssa, if you could grab that, we will share that out to our groups as well. Awesome fundraiser there on Saturday the 2nd. If you have any other fundraisers coming up, make sure you email the info on that to panohioinfo@cancer.org as well. And we will blast those out and share them on our Facebook groups and post them on our website as well. We had a hand up. Sorry, I'm not paying attention to hands up. Sean has his hand up. Sean.
Hello, everybody. How's everybody doing tonight? I just want to circle back about the Create Your Own 328. Alyssa, thank you for the information that you provided. But what if you just want to pick it up yourself? I mean, that would save you guys a little bit of money with the shipping. And we were planning on going to the kickoff there anyways. So I just want to circle back and make sure that's a possibility, or there was a certain plan involved with the Create Your Own 328.
Yeah, Sean, thanks for bringing that up. So we are planning to mail all of the Create Your Own 328 packets mid-July. But if you would prefer, it's a really great point, to have it picked up locally to save us from shipping. You know, we have about 40 individuals that are signed up this year for the Create Your Own 328. Definitely email us and let us know that you prefer us not to mail it, and we can include it in those local pickup options. All Create Your Own 328s receive a bib, just like all the in-person riders, finisher medal, like all of our participants. And if you qualify for jerseys, that's included, of course, too. So all of the same things are given to Create Your Own, and those are going to be mailed. But since there are a couple Create Your Own 328 folks on the call and that may listen to the recording, if you'd rather us not mail your packet, definitely let us know and we can coordinate that and offer it for you to pick up in person.
Yeah, it just makes sense for me just to pick it up during the kickoff dinners. And we were planning on coming up for that anyways. So
Awesome.
you guys a couple bucks.
Glad you can make it for that. That's awesome.
Yeah, like I said, sorry we weren't able to be on the ride this year, just with finances and other things too. It just wasn't in the cards this year.
Yeah,
but we're doing our own this year. So we're doing starting Friday. We're doing
rocking the fundraising though. I see that and appreciate that. Rocking it. Tony, just to be sure I can drive up to John Carroll Thursday morning. Yeah. Well, the guidebook, Tony, actually will be emailed out in the coming week. So you will have that far in advance. We will have a couple of hard copies printed out if anyone needs a printed out one. We can certainly have a few printed out copies, but yes, you can. While we would love to have you at the kickoff dinner on Wednesday evening, if you can't make it Wednesday, that's totally okay. You can join us Thursday morning, get your packet, get settled in, and start the ride with us Thursday morning. That's totally fine.
Any other questions? No.
Oh, good question. We didn't talk about the bus departure time. And it will be a little earlier since we have a little bit of a shorter day on Sunday than we're used to in the past and have only 70 miles to cover. Our bus departure time is going to be tentatively 3:30. Is that accurate? Question? So we're going to try to roll out so everyone can get back home a little bit earlier than in some prior years. And yeah, there will be a Penske truck. So once you get to the finish line, you can just put your bike on that Penske truck that says Cleveland. In your case, Tony, if you don't live in Cleveland, don't put it on the Cleveland truck, put it on the truck of your city. And then you'll get on the bus and that truck will meet you at your car at John Carroll. And then you can unload your bike off the truck and be on your ride. And yeah, thanks for this, Brian. Good shout out on that. Brian Boritz runs if you're on Facebook, Brian has a really great new riders Facebook group. So if you're not already on that, you can reach out to Brian Boritz. He's got his email in the chat there. Really great resource if you have any other new rider specific questions, or you just want to connect with other people who are new as well. That's a great way to do that. If you want to join the Slack, we'll have a channel for new riders as well. And it's a Brian B. Hope Rider at gmail.com. Thanks for that, Brian. Great resource. And, just if you haven't already joined, if you're on Facebook, we do have groups specific to each market as well. So Northern Ohio, a Central Ohio, and a Southern Ohio. And then there's also an out-of-state Facebook group if you want to connect with other out-of-state riders. Some of whom are traveling and do the event in person, and some of whom are doing Create Your Own 328 from wherever they are. But it's a fun way to stay in touch. Any other questions tonight? And again, if you think of things later, that's cool. I'd say maybe let's go ahead and take a moment to do our raffle. And then if anyone else has thought of any questions, we can circle back. But Olivia, do you have our attendance for us in a raffle? Okay, we're ready.
Well, I do. You guys are lucky. It was the only bowl I didn't pack yet in my moving boxes, but all right. Here. Sorry if I mispronounce this. John Wolshock.
All right, congratulations, John. We'll get 5 additional incentive points. And if you haven't been through that yet, incentive points, you've each earned a couple just for being here. John just won an additional 5. And there are other various ways to earn incentive points throughout the year. If you haven't seen that, let us know. We'll get you the info on that. But after the season closes, we're going to open up the Pan Ohio store, and you can spend your incentive points for swag items of your choosing. So watch out for that. You'll be awarded more depending on your fundraising levels, if you've recruited new riders, if you've brought in sponsors, and a number of different things.
There's a great resource on POHR.org under the forms and documents. And I'll say all of our information is uploaded there. So all the guidebooks, one-pagers are all under forms and documents on the website, in addition to being emailed out. So anything you need to access, definitely check out POHR.org, the forms and documents section.
Awesome. Well, it's been awesome to see everyone tonight, and I can't wait to see y'all in person in a few weeks. Again, if you know anyone that missed this, let them know to watch out for the recording. And then we'll be revising that guidebook based on a couple questions we heard tonight that we feel like we need to add in there. And we'll be sending out that recording and that PDF of the guidebook. Check your email for that later this week. And as always, be in contact. It's time. Staff's on high alert, knowing that they're going to be kind of constantly monitoring their emails and being ready to jump on any questions you have. Just echo what Sarah started with. If you have not yet filled out your lodging and transportation survey, please do so ASAP. You're going to start getting hounded if you haven't, because we need to know where to reserve your rooms and whatnot.
You would have got an email from me yesterday. So if you got a personal email from me yesterday, that was reminder 1, but they'll keep coming. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
And that's for all riders, whether you're hotel, camping, dorms. Please fill out your form if you haven't already.
And I don't know, for anyone who is camping, I don't know if we covered this, but if you are interested in camping, you do get a key card to at least access the building so that you can use the inside showers and restrooms and stuff too. So you're not completely roughing it out there. If you choose the camping option, you do get a key to the restroom.
Yes.
Cool. Well, thanks everyone. We can stick on the call if anyone just wants to chat about anything else or social time, but I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. And